Many years, my children and I visited often, and she became a personal friend. And I would always stop by her desk, and we would chat about all sorts of things that weren't library related, because she was always a friendly voice and a friendly face. Judy actually grew up in Bridgeport. She graduated from Warren Harding High School, which is a public school. She attended UConn, the University of Connecticut, and she went right towards getting her library science master's degree program at Southern. Her first job was at New Britain Public Library. She was a technician, which really probably meant she did a lot of front desk stuff and the mechanical part of being a librarian. She then moved, which I thought was so interesting, to the Connecticut Police Academy as their librarian. And I think she probably would have been happy there for a lifetime. But her beloved Bernie, who she married in 1970, was an expert on Saab maintenance and the technical part. And Bernie got transferred from Midstate to Saab of New London, right on Broad Street. So she wrote her first letter at the end of 1972 to apply for any position that was open. And she was actually hired in June of 73, part-time. That was the first time an opening came up. And her starting salary was $2.70 an hour, which, you know, we were talking today, Chris and I were talking, you know, maybe in 1973 that wasn't a bad deal, but she moved into part-time from part-time to full-time with a retirement on the staff. And so in September of 73, her wage went up to $3.20 an hour, and she gained the title of desk adult services librarian. She was an unbelievable employee. She worked under 3 different directors here, and she became the face of the library. When you came in, she was at that desk that's now occupied by Jill Adams and her staff. And she always, she was a very good reference librarian. She's a good researcher. Her, I looked through all of the things that were written about her. She was nominated for a variety of different awards, both within Waterford and within the Library Association of the state. She ran several regional district committees. She was described on all of her reviews as a team player, smart, hardworking, energetic, organized, dedicated, friendly, funny, committed to the library and its patrons. She loved to travel. Most of our conversations were about traveling. She loved brass jewelry and copper jewelry, and would offer me money if I ever wore those things in exchange for what I was wearing. We talked about Hawaii often. Kathy, where's Kathy? I saw you here. Kathy was sharing with me today that she started looking for her retirement home. They had first lived in Quaker Hill, and then she and Bernie built a kid house on Pepperbox. And if you ever stop by to see her during those years, and my husband was the planner at that time too, they actually did everything on this kit with a manual. Can you imagine a librarian and an engineer building a house?
Sounds like a movie.
And we never thought she'd move out of Pepperbox, but Kathy said it took her 8 years because she had to find the exact right house in Tucson. And Kathy would say every time she would go, "Don't find your house, don't find your house." But ultimately, Judy found her place, and she and Bernie moved to Tucson with promises that they would come back and stay here 6 months out of the year. And that kept dwindling until they sold both of the properties very shortly after they moved to Tucson. It's very difficult to talk about her as gone because she was so vibrant. And I thought she would have just such a, she didn't have a long time in retirement, 2018 to this past year. And I thought she would kind of live forever. She's never sick. She was really amazing. But she had leukemia, and she fought a brave battle. And unfortunately, her time was over. And here we are today, remembering her instead of visiting with her. The reason we have this beautiful little blue spruce is for two reasons. We have some gardeners in this group. We have Eileen Boyce on our board, and Marcia Benvenuti from the Board of Education. They're both wonderful gardeners, and I joined with them, and we worked with some of our little folk and their grandparents or parents to build our edging, and we replanted and moved and watered and weeded. Eileen weeded and weeded and weeded, and eventually this will be a very thick perennial bed with colors changing through the season. But we knew we needed an anchor, especially after I saw that fake tree over on the corner last year. So Eileen, Marcia, and I decided, well, we need an evergreen. And then Judy passed this year, and what came across my email from Chris Johnson was an article that was written in the Day. Gosh, how many years ago was that? 10 years ago, maybe? Yeah, Judy used to like to get her live trees from Salem Country Gardens. And she ran up there on her lunch hour in December, probably 10, 12 years ago. I didn't look at the date of the article.
I think it was 95.
95 was it? Oh my God,
ago.
it was 30 years ago. Thank you for looking at the date. Oh my God. So she picked out her tree, and they put the tree in the back of her truck, and off she came quickly back because she had to get back to work. And she went out at the end of the day, and there was no tree in her trunk. So she was so angry that somebody was a Grinch and took her tree. So she went over to the police and reported it. And after, licking her wounds, she decided, well, I'm going to go back and get another tree. And she went up to Salem, and she started explaining what happened. And they said, wait a second. And what had happened was nobody had stolen her tree. The tree had fallen out of the trunk on Route 85. And a policeman, somebody got it, and actually she was able to retrieve her original tree. So isn't it fitting that we were able to find a little blue spruce? It won't always be a little blue spruce. We chose it it's going to have a narrow posture, but it will get bigger. And we will make sure it gets watered and it gets fed, so that every time we come into this library, we can see Judy's tree. So join me in lighting up Judy's tree. And I won't be able to do that unless